Good morning, BookTube, YouTube. This is Johnny. I thought I'd make a video. My wife left this morning to do errands. It is November the 14th, 2024. It is 10:40 in the morning here in Southwest Michigan. It is a cold, wet, dreary, rainy, ugly day, but that's the way life is. Yeah, I thought I'd make it just a short video. I mentioned I was going to get some books in the mail. I got 2 books in the mail, and I thought I'd show them to you. I've been making longer videos, I noticed, because the camera, I used to just do, I think when I first started making videos 9 years ago, it was like 10 minutes, 13 minutes. Now I think I'm up to about 27, 28 minutes. There are some people on BookTube who do it 45 minutes, an hour. I can't do that. Now, I have said in my recent videos, if I had like a movie camera, I could sit here for an hour, but I don't know how many of you would even stay that long. I know when I watch videos in BookTube, I rarely watch the whole video. I do watch these lawn care videos I've gotten into, people who mow lawns and trim trees and bushes, and there's one guy who not only mows the lawn and does edging, but he'll pick up all the trash and he'll repair the porches, and he does all kinds of community kind of things. Like, I watched a video of him the other day. There was a sidewalk that led to a school bus stop that was all overgrown with weeds and bushes and grass and garbage and trees, and he cleared that sidewalk so kids could walk on the sidewalk and not have to walk into the street. Things like that. Anyway, so I watch all kinds of videos. Some I do watch music videos, I watch lecture videos on YouTube, and I watch my own videos. As you know, one of the reasons why I started BookTube was not only to show the books that I really enjoy or collect, but also to post these videos I make on YouTube into my online diary, Crooked Fingers. I post in my online diary, I take pictures of birds, and I take pictures of different things that I encounter in my day-to-day existence in the wasteland, and I post Bandcamp music and music videos from YouTube, and now I post BookTube videos that I make here. So yeah, I'm writing in my diary as I do in the morning. I'm on page 948. For the year 2024. Writing in my diary, and I'm reading, well, I'll show you the books I got in the mail, but I've been reading Distinctive Marks of Saving Faith by Alexander Comrie, and reading How Faith Overcomes the World. Something I just read is a reoccurring theme in my own videos, in my online diaries, and something I say all the time to people, and it's important to keep that in mind. At least it's important for me right now, what has just happened in the presidential elections, to keep in mind, even though I have struggles with faith. But it says here, faith means overcoming the world. And so he writes, 1, faith sees the limits of the world. Faith is the victory that overcomes the world. For by faith we know that the world and all that is in it is nothing more than a created entity, and thus finite. Then he quotes from Hebrews 11:3. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so the things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. Hebrews 11:3. The believer thereby perceives that finite creatures are incapable of fulfilling the unfulfilled desires of the soul. The soul will therefore transcend all that is created and in Him who is the infinite Jehovah. Only then will the soul find her real and essential rest, when she perceives that nothing but the eternal God alone is worthy of her love and esteem, and that all her inclinations end in the Lord. I am convinced that no one will achieve a single victory over the world until he recognizes with a calm heart that all that is in the world is no more than created matter. The things of this world will be as empty vessels in which not a drop of real and internal comfort is to be found unless God has embedded it in them. 2. Faith sees the instability of the world. Faith is the victory that overcomes the world because the soul learns experimentally by experience that the world and all that is in it is subject to continual change. When faith is in exercise, one will observe that one generation goes, another generation comes, that kingdoms are overturned, that princes can come to so low that they sit in the dust, and that those who were dwelling in the dust obtain to lofty positions. One will see that, quote, riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle toward the heaven. Proverbs 23, verse 5. That friends become enemies and that one cannot trust a single creature. In short, nothing under the sun is abiding. Everything is transitory. A person will now begin to see how foolish it is for his heart to either give itself or to be unduly attached to anything that is created. He will endeavor to have and possess everything as having and possessing nothing. However lovely, however pleasant, however invigorating things may be, he will say, quote, shall I commit my heart and my affections to my possessions? They are vulnerable to the moth, the thief, and the rust. If they do not depart from me, I will certainly have no part with them. And bid them farewell. Bid them eternal farewell. Shall I commit my heart to my husband, my wife, my child? I will at once have to part with them, or they with me. All flesh is as grass. 1 Peter 1:24. Moreover, the more that I am affectionately bound to them, and am, so to speak, intertwined with them, the more grievous it would be for me to let go of them. Shall I be sad or joyful in proportion to whether the world either mistreats me or smiles upon me? Everything is truly subject to change. He who is my friend today will be my enemy tomorrow. The appearance of all things will pass away. My soul abhors all those things, all those changes. Instead, chooses the eternal triune covenant God, who in the midst of all that changes in creation remains the same yesterday and today and forever. Hebrews 13, verse 8. As long as the soul does not arrive at this point, she will be very unhappy, and she will be as changeable as a changeable creature. She will be troubled at heart. Yes, he who does not have some knowledge of such exercises of faith will be as the waves of the sea. One moment he will be ecstatically joyful, another moment he will melt away in sorrow. One moment he will have strong emotions of love, the next moment he will be filled with wrath and rancor. One moment he will deem himself to be happy, and then again he will complain about his bitter lot in life. Oh, godliness will teach you to be content under all circumstances. He who raises above all that is visible and tangible and audible and ends in the unchangeable Jehovah has a great advantage, having learned to be content in whatever circumstances or situation he will find himself. How happy Paul was, who by faith had learned so much in that regard. And then he goes on. So I just thought I'd share that with you. So far as the books I got in the mail the other day, this is the book I had pre-ordered, Light, Unapproachable, Divine Incomprehensibility and the Task of Theology by Ronnie Kurtz. Yeah, I've been reading this since I got it yesterday or the day before. Yeah, it's on the doctrine of incomprehensibility, divine incomprehensibility. So I've been reading this. And the other book I pre-ordered was Angels in the Forest by Margareta Young. Now, I had been reading, and I haven't gotten back into it, was Miss McIntosh, My Darling, by Margareta Young. This is by Archive Press. Dalkai Press. I always mispronounce that. So, yeah, I should get back into reading this. I got it back out. Well, it's been on my to-be read pile since, I don't know, months and months and months. But then after I bought Mrs. McIntosh, My Darling, Margareta Young, she was a poet. I bought her poetry. There's a younger photo of her. Yeah, Margareta Young, collected poems, edited by Phil Beavis, Joshua Ross, and Jacob Sanfring. And then I bought Harp Song and Radical, The Life and Times of Eugene Victor Debs by Margareta Young. So I haven't read these, but I read some of her poetry. And this thing, my Macintosh, My Darling, is, how many pages was it? Or is it? It's 1,321 pages, and I had read 923. So I have about 390 pages left in this when I was reading it, and I'll get back into it. So I got in the mail her other, this was just reprinted, Angels in the Forest by Margareta Young. Margaret. It says here in the back, Margareta Young's excursive history of the glorious faith and folly of two Ethiopian communities in the 19th century United States. In 1814, German mystic George Rapp founded the town of Harmony in order to bring about the New Jerusalem. The experiment fell prey to the wiles of complicated spiritual pioneer Rapp, and a decade later, the deserted town was renamed New Harmony and sold to the industrialist Robert Owen, father of the British labor movement. Owen sought to build a self-sufficient socialist utopia predicated on rationalism, but by 1827, that experiment also came to an end, plagued by financial disaster. While New Harmony utopian experiments ultimately failed, Young found in both a distinctly tragicomic pioneer yearning. Her wild epic is a pageant to the U.S. reformist tradition and the legacy of our frontier dreamers. Written with the same lyrical wit and elegance in her fiction, Angel in the Forest was widely praised upon its first publication in 1945, winning a Guggenheim and Newbery Library Awards. The edition includes Mark Van Doren's introduction to Scribner's 1966 reprint, which was published shortly after the release of Young's critical success, Miss McIntosh, My Darling. So yeah. So I got these two books in the mail: Light Unapproachable, Divine Incomprehensibility, and The Task of Theology by Ronnie Kurtz. I also got out to read this morning Mere Christian Hermeneutics, Transfiguring What It Means to Read the Bible Theologically by Kevin J. Van Hooser. That's it about here. This is about 15 minutes. Yeah, I don't have anything coming in the mail as far as books that I know the rest of this month. I don't think I get anything coming in the mail until next year, until spring. I did yesterday. No, it was Tuesday. I went to see my psychologist, and on the way home, I stopped at Gateway Mission Thrift Store and found two books. One of the books I had, which I put in my car, because it was a double, but the other one was a book of modern, an anthology of modern and postmodern poetry, which I'll show on future videos. So yeah, I think I told you I'm not going to do the book nook. The more I thought about it, it wasn't the same when I went to the volunteer meeting. You know, they were giving us a view of the book nook. The book nook, the library used bookstore, opens up on the 18th of November. And the more I thought about it, I just wouldn't feel comfortable. It's not the book nook that I've known for so many years. It's just, I don't like changes. I like continuity. And I just didn't feel comfortable being in that kind of environment. So I called the guy who's in charge of volunteers and said, I just can't do it anymore. I did it for a long time, but it's not the book nook. It's just, I was just kind of disappointed with the whole thing, and so I'm not going to do the book nook anymore. It was a good experience. I enjoyed it all those years. I did it like 13, 14 years. Well, it was closed during COVID, and it was closed for a year and a half recently because of remodeling of the library. So maybe I did it 10 years, 11 years altogether. Plus, I don't go to the library because I have my own library. I still go to thrift stores and used book sales, but I don't go to the library. The books that I like, they don't have at libraries. And I don't like checking books out and having to take them back I like just having a book and having it always available when I want to read it or not read it. I don't like just... But I'm thankful for libraries because there are people who don't have money for books, where they don't have... there's no bookstores, no used book sales. You know, libraries serve a purpose. Plus, you lose libraries for all different kinds of reasons. If you go to high school or junior high school, you do your homework there at the library. And they got children's books. Young mothers bring their kids there. They have reading programs, and people can go there and read newspapers and magazines and use the computer. So libraries serve multiple purposes besides just checking out books. So I hope you're having a good week. I mean, I'm still recovering from the elections, but I've been praying for the Lord to give me how to see what has been going on. Trying not to get, I tend to overreact. I tend to see things in the most negative light. I'm a pessimist. I'm gloom and doom. I have a hard time thinking positively. I tend to see that the world is going to come to an end, which I know it will be, but will that come during the next 4 years, who knows? The Lord could come today. The Lord Jesus could come today. Who knows? So yeah, this morning I'm reading Distinctive Marks in Saving Faith by Alexander Comrie, reading Light Unapproachable, Divine Incomprehensibility in the Task of Theology by Ronnie Kurtz, reading Mere Christian Hermeneutics, Transfiguring What It Means to Read the Bible Theologically by Kevin J. Van Hooser. And I don't know when I'll get into reading Angel in the Forest by Margarita Young. So I hope you're having a good day. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for subscribing. So yeah, if you got anything you want to share about what's going on in the world, the United States, how you're coping, just feel free to jot me a comment. I get some strange comments. I got a comment the other day about that I should get rid of all my pens and paper and just forsake everything and follow Jesus, all material possessions. And I thought to myself, I don't really have any material possessions. I wear old clothes. I drive a car that's almost 20 years old. My last van I drove for 30 years. I don't take vacations. I don't like eating out. I don't go to the movies. I haven't bought clothes in years. I don't spend any money except on paper and pens, and try to get them on sale during back to school sales. I mean, when school is back, office supply stores have things on sale like pens and paper. So that, and I've been writing in my diary since I was 17 years old, and to tell me get rid of my paper and pens and don't write anymore is kind of like saying don't exist anymore. And as far as destroying my diaries, he said, you can shred them up, but I'm not ready yet to destroy my diaries, which it'd probably take me months and months to destroy my diaries because they're massive. I've shown you photos and videos over the years that's massive. If I write 1,000 pages a year, and I've been writing, now I have 46 years of diaries downstairs. And in those bins where my diaries are magazines, cassettes, tons of emails, Bible study notes. When I taught adult Sunday school, I have all those notes in my diaries. I got rid of all my school notes from Bible college and seminary. I took those to a paper recycle place about 4 or 5 months ago. And plus my diaries cover the life of my children, raising our kids, our marriage. My wife and I have been married 45 years, which has all been documented in those diaries. The lives of our children, our 3 children, have been documented. The lives of our grandchildren have been documented in those paper diaries. My spiritual life, my spiritual journey and quest, all my struggles of faith have been documented in those diaries. So I have a very hard time just taking them to a shredder. I'd rather not have to do that myself and leave that to our second son, Josiah. I told him when I die to get rid of him. Now, if my wife dies first and I'm still alive, I'll do it myself. We have a fireplace here in our house. We don't use the fireplace because my wife is allergic to smoke. But if my wife was to die before I do, I would first clean the chimney, have a chimney sweeper, and then I would burn my diaries in this fireplace. That's what I did when I left California 47 years ago. I burned all my diaries in a fireplace in California when I left Richmond, California to go to Grand Rapids, Michigan to Reformed Bible College. I burned all my diaries in a girlfriend's fireplace. It took me 2 days. It'd probably take me several months of burning my diaries if I was to do it. Anyway, I'm rambling. I hope you're having a good reading week. And yeah, I'm not really, my wife is not materialistic either. My wife is not materialistic. That's one of the reasons why when it attracted me when I met my wife, that she's not into anything. She's into helping people, loving people. She gives of her time, of her godly wisdom, of her finances. She's a giving person. She's a nurse. She was a nurse for 47 years. And she's always, she just likes to give away books, money, time. So my wife is not materialistic. She just is a giver. And that's what we ought to be as Christians. Seek to help the poor, seek to show justice, seek to love our neighbor, not only with godly wisdom, but, help them, take a meal to them or visit them in jail or go to the hospital and pray with them on their bed of sickness and things like that. There's certain things that you have to have if you live in America. You got to have a house. You got to have food. You got to pay the bills. You've got to have a car. You might say, I don't want those things, but it's kind of hard to live in modern American society without those things. You got to have a car that will get you to work. You got to have a car to get you to the store. You got to have, in Michigan, you have winters. You got to pay for furnace, for heat. You got to have water if you're going to drink water or take a bath. You got to have toilet paper. Certain things you got to have. And my wife and I, we're just into the basic things. We don't, it's just the way life is. Everything is, like I just read, everything is transitory. Everything is passing away. And what we're seeking is that world to come, that city of God, the New Jerusalem, the new creation. That's what I'm seeking. So anyway, I don't consider myself attached to anything except my diaries maybe. And as far as my books, yeah, I could be attached, but I realize that they could all go up in smoke. And anyway, I'm rambling. Hope you're having a good reading week. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for subscribing. And may the Lord bless. Until next time, bye.